Yeah. So it looks like we are finally on the drafting page. So are you expecting any niche heroes from these two teams to be banned out?
Well, I mean, even after last game, EP just going off with that IO Tiny might be something that MVP are a little bit worried about. You don't obviously have to ban out both of them, usually just banning out the IO and then you're going to have most of your bases covered. But even just looking at EP's drafts that they've done in the past, before just as a group, we were like looking through it and we came to the conclusion that they can play anything. So it's kind of hard to ban up against a team that can play anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to be honest. Did you see Jirax on that Earthshaker yesterday?
Oh, yes.
Every single gank, every single fissure, he landed it spot on. So I'm kind of hoping for Energy Pacemakers to show a bit of a respect band there to that support player. He's very, very aggressive. He never sits back. He never just farms. He's constantly there with those ganks. So I'm expecting a Earthshaker ban. If we don't see it banned out, there's a high chance that MVP will pick that up first. I think it was the first pick for one of MVP's games.
I'm not sure if it's exactly first pick, but I'm pretty sure they picked it up very early in the games that they've actually played. So, you know, first pick, second pick, third pick, it's all early enough so that you can get that hero. And really, it's like the Earthshakers, not just Jerax, but the Earthshakers all today have been freaking fantastic. Like Link's last game, in the game that was just previous to this one, that was an insane Earthshaker display. The fissures were on point in the early game, the roaming was great as well, and then later game, the Echo Slam, still getting the walls off with the fissure, which come late game is really hard to do. That's really difficult to actually have happen.
Okay, so a couple of bans coming out for both teams. Energy Pacemakers, they're going to put more emphasis on a Queen of Pain and Drow ban, whereas MVP HOT6, they're getting rid of the Spirit Breaker and Undying, and we're going to see a Wisp.
I wonder what can follow up this Wisp.
I wonder what's going to follow up.
Well, not Spirit Breaker, not the Undying. Gotta fear the Undying IO combo for sure.
And you can't forget that Drow Wisp.
Yeah, Drow Wisp.
Yeah.
Gotta watch out for that. Oh, MVP though. I mean, again, they probably should have seen this one coming. EP just got finished playing with this hero. They're probably, a little bit more warmed up the hero, and they're obviously very comfortable with the hero. So just having that on the board, MVP have to prepare for this. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Disruptor first pick for them just to try to cover their bases.
Do you think there's a chance that Energy Pacemakers might try and use this as a mind game pick? So they're hoping that MVP HOT6 is expecting a Tiny to pick heroes for that Tiny, and then all of a sudden maybe they draft a Sven instead for that Wisp.
Well, I mean, the thing is with IO is that the Bristleback, the Sven, the Tiny, like all the possible combinations with IO, they behave more or less the same. They're super tanky, they do well with the extra attack speed, and if you want to cripple the IO X hero combo, usually you have to actually target the IO, and that's exactly what MVP are doing with this hero. Lina, well, IO's not exactly a tanky hero, and Lina can certainly get the kills pretty easily, and there you go. Get the Shaker very early.
Yeah, I love that hero. It's very good at disrupting the Wisp +1. So Energy Pacemakers, they're going through a bit of time. Is this going to be a Tiny?
Does it? I don't think it has to be. Like, obviously they are comfortable with the IO Tiny combo, but I believe in the last game that we saw from EP, they picked up that Tiny IO combo as the third and fourth pick. So they had a lot of time to actually feel out for what would have been good right now. Right now, I mean, Lina and Earthshaker, they're pretty good counters to IO in general and how he behaves. They don't exactly have to make this commitment into a Tiny just yet. They could have MVP waste their bans essentially on a Tiny and then grab a Bristleback or a Sven or a Gyrocopter even, and then just have that as their combo.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're actually cutting in through quite a bit of reserve time, and we're going to have a Viper pick instead. So Energy Pacemakers, they're going to open up the Tiny for MVP HOT6 to either ban, or HOT6 will feel comfortable, leave him in the pool, and draft heroes that are going to be able to deal with the Wisp +1. But still, Viper's a strong hero.
Yeah, it's a very tanky hero, obviously. Together with the IO, it's not exactly the combo that EP are definitely looking for, but you look at MVP's opening heroes, the Lina, the Shaker, obviously more magical damage oriented than anything else, and that's where the corrosive skin comes into play. Viper is just going to be a tough nut for MVP to crack, and while MVP are trying to kill off the Viper, there's going to be some IO combination bearing down on them, so they are on a timer. They're going to be up against really tanky heroes, really difficult to kill heroes, amplified by IO's tether heal.
Yeah, so a couple of bans coming out so far. It's the obvious Tiny bans. The MVP, they don't want to deal with the Tiny Wisp combo. Energy Pacemakers, though, they go for the Ancient Apparition ban, which I feel like it's a very good ban just because if Energy Pacemakers decides to go for a relocate gank, there's always going to be the constant threat of an Ice Blast coming your way. And MVP, if they have heroes to back it up, they can instantly burst down the supposedly gank coming from Energy Pacemakers. Broodmother going to be the next ban, though?
Yeah, not only the Ancient Apparition preventing that as far as counterplay is concerned, but also denying the IO's ability to heal up. Either the Viper or IO, probably one of the two heroes is going to be going for a mech. I would imagine someone on EP, if not those two heroes, is going to be grabbing that item. So Ancient Apparition would have shut down all that healing, and well, that's that. You don't have any healing, suddenly IO becomes a lot worse as a hero. So EP going to cover their bases, and MVP, they're going to try to cover their bases as well, but man, no matter who you actually ban out, unless you spend actually all your first 4 bans at targeting IO combinations, there's going to be a decent IO partner in the pool.
Yeah, and not just that, but it leaves all of the supports open for energy pacemakers. So you still got the Lion, you've got the Witch Doctor, you've got the Shadow Shaman. So there's a lot of options available for energy pacemakers to not just control MVP HOT6, but also in case they want to go for that pushing oriented draft, pick up the Shadow Shaman. If they want to go for ganks, pick up that Lion. So
yeah,
we'll have
probably,
to see.
Probably Disable's going to be at a premium here. Viper and IO both, well, I mean, they have slows, but there's, that's sometimes just not going to be good enough. Sometimes it is going to be good enough, but Lion probably going to be at a premium here for Energy Pacemaker. And again, they could just keep on delaying their IO partner pick, and it's going to be up to MVP to actually make some sort of response to this. MVP, well, maybe it's going to be support Lina, does pretty darn well with the Earthshaker, but it seems like it's probably just going to go into a core role, at least until they make a couple more picks.
If I'm not mistaken, I think MVP ran Lina yesterday as a support, so they're pretty open with their Linas. It's not like particular teams that just run her as a core, so it could just be that really poor position 5 Lina.
Yeah, I think I did see that Lina as a support, but this is not something I was expecting. Yes. So Mirana as the pick for MVP. Well, Mirana, Lina, you could very easily juggle them between support and core roles. And really that's the value of picking these two heroes up, or these types of heroes up very early. If you suddenly decide this isn't going to be a good game for a core Mirana or core Lina, just swap that around and you're going to be good to go. Yeah,
lots of versatility from MVP HOT6. Energy Pacemakers though, would you think they'll go for a support pick now, or would you think they want to secure that partner for the Wisp right now? Because there's one more ban in the way of MVP HOT6 after these next 2 picks.
I'm going to call it right now. Energy Pacemaker, Lion into Sven.
I would like a Lion for Energy. They need disables. Wisp doesn't give you anything like that. Your Viper, he's going to be in the front lines, not for disables. He's just there to tank up and soak up all the damage. I would like to see a Lion.
It is possible that they may be a little bit scared of the amount of stunning coming out from MVP. Okay, well, I'm just completely wrong then, so you guys should just stop listening right now. But yeah, IO Ember Spirit, not exactly the combo that we're looking for. It is, again, pretty strong, just being able to have that supreme global mobility with the IO in general, then combine that with the extra mobility from the Ember Spirit. It's going to be really hard for MVP to actually deal with that, but again, I was just making the point that MVP have a hell of a lot of stunning right now, and Ember Spirit, that is going to get locked down, not a happy hero.
One thing I want to mention though, I'm not too sure if you're aware of it, but with the updates to the Battle Fury and everything, apparently it's misbehaving in terms of the interaction between Sleight of Fist and the Ember Spirit's Battle Fury.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure if Energy Pacemakers knows this.
Yeah, I saw some thread on Reddit saying that. I didn't actually look into it anymore. I was kind of hoping that the shorter patch that we had, the, I guess, 0.84B patch or A patch or whatever, would have fixed that problem, since depending on how bad it is, could really be game breaking. But yeah, I don't exactly know. I think it was something with cooldowns. That's all I read, but I don't really know any else.
I don't think it was cooldown. It was just the they changed the mechanics, not mechanics, but they changed some stuff for the Battle Fury, and it just doesn't interact with the Sleight of Fist anymore. I think it was somewhere along the lines of 80% damage reduction from the previous Battle Fury. So it sounds game-breaking, but we'll see if Energy Pacemakers can cope with this disadvantage. They might not even go for a Battle Fury.
Yeah, I mean, you could just go for any other damage item. MVP, though they do have a lot of stuns, now a lot of damage with the Shadow Fiend pickup. What they lack is really just a tanky frontline hero. An Energy Pacemaker, they're not the tankiest in the world, but Viper definitely gets very tanky. They have now double heals coming out from the Witch Doctor and the IO, so the Ancient Apparition ban doing double duty as far as that is concerned. So MVP, they can't get the Drow Ranger that was first banned out by Energy Pacemaker, but man, how great would a Drow Ranger would have been for MVP right now? That would have just tied everything together.
Yeah, Drow would have been really, really nice to have, but anyways, we're going to go into our final set of bans. Now, I'm expecting another Wisp partner ban from MVP HOT6, because if you look at the heroes currently on Energy Pacemaker's draft, you don't really want to use an Ember Spirit as your Wisp partner, because he's already so mobile anyway. And Viper, I guess you could put the Viper with the Wisp, but he doesn't snowball to the point of, you could say, no return like a CK or a Sven. So we may see one of those two underrated heroes partnered with the Wisp, or they can go in a completely different direction and use this Wisp in a completely different way.
Yeah, Ember Spirit usually a pretty self-sufficient laner, usually going towards the mid lane, but even a safe lane, Ember Spirit should be reasonable. For Energy Pacemaker, a CK running an offensive tri-lane right now with the Witch Doctor and Io. Like, usually Io, you don't really want to be involved in an offensive tri-lane, but CK is just such a powerhouse in that regard that they could probably get away with it. Even though MVP have a whole lot of lane control right now, a lot of nuke damage, a lot of stuns, it is something that is an option for Energy Pacemaker, and hopefully for them won't really cripple their lanes by all that often. But of course, I'm a little bit biased. I love CK as a hero, so I'm always crossing my fingers for that hero.
I don't know. The hero, he's very, very strong, but he's got a lot of quirkiness to him that he just doesn't seem to function as well as those other heroes that serve the same purpose. Omni Knight, though, will be the final pickup for MVP HOT6. This is a very interesting draft.
CK gets a lot worse with this Omni Knight. You pull a target in with the Reality Rift, it's a clear target for the Omni Knight. I should heal or repel, or ideally both, whoever is going to get pulled back by that. And maybe you save them, maybe you don't, but you're going to get some guaranteed damage out of that purification anyway, and sometimes that's just all you need. So it is a draft that has a lot more healing than we usually see, like the Io Witch Doctor and of course the Omni Knight from MVP. So it's going to come down to probably more slugfest kind of fights, despite the burst from MVP.
Yeah, Energy Pacemakers there, you got to also take note that they have a lot of regeneration. They have a Wisp that's going to have a bottle, maybe even a mechanism as well. And then you have the Witch Doctor with the healing. It's progressive healing, but still every bit of HP healed, it goes a long way. Whereas MVP, for the moment, they only have an Omni Knight. Do Omni Knights typically pick up mechanisms? I don't think he has the mana pool to really sustain it, so maybe it's just going to be the Omni Knight heals.
I mean, it's a good item to have on an Omni Knight, but it's not really the item that you want to get. Like, if you're an Omni Knight, actually most Omni Knights nowadays play more of a core role, so they might be going for that one, but yeah, it is going to strain the mana pool, and if you're not able to constantly get the Purifies out, well then you're definitely not going to get the Mechanism out, obviously, and then you're just sitting there with a whole bunch of gold and inventory, and it's not actually doing anything. For EP, well suddenly it's not going to be a really traditional IO partner. It's just going to be the Nature's Prophet, and now the mobility and the map presence of EP is really difficult for MVP to deal with.
Yeah, so we're just going to wait for the players to pick up their heroes, and we should be loading into the game relatively soon. Looks like we are going to be well underway. But if you look at both drafts, which one do you feel is the stronger draft overall?
Oh man, that is such a hard question. Lots of the time it's a very easy question since you're like, well, there's this flaw and there's this flaw, but oh man, I don't know. I'm going to ask you the same question. I'm going to go after you.
Okay.
You answer first.
If I look at it in terms of early game presence and the late game presence, I would have to say MVP. They have the stronger early game, whereas Energy Pacemakers, as the game goes later, they're going to have to rely on the Ember Spirit and the Nature's Prophet, but those two heroes scale very well with items, and they farm very well as well. So Energy, I will give them late game. MVP, they're going to take the early game.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. Like, as far as who has the advantage in total, I really think that EP's global or semi-global strategy is going to be so hard for MVP to deal with, just because if any of these super soft heroes are going to get caught out by a relocate and suddenly Nature's Prophet, suddenly Ember Spirit there's no chance that they survive. Even if it's an Omni Knight, there's no chance, or there's a small chance that he's actually going to get out of there. So EP, just with their global strategy alone, is going to be really hard to deal with, but MVP have so much early game that it might just never come to be that EP will be able to make those jumps in.
Yeah. Later game, though, I feel like that global presence is going to be incredibly strong. And if you look at the supports on the side of MVP, Earthshaker and Lina, those two, I guess Lina's bumped up into a core role then because they have the Omni Knight, unless they want to make the Omni Knight put the Omni Knight in a farming role. It's played by Sunbee.
I mean, yeah, it is of course possible for them to just shuffle their heroes around a little bit, so we should probably wait until we're actually going to get going, until we figure out who's going to be playing what. But most of the time, Omni Knights go into some sort of core role. The hero can be played, like serves a very support-ish kind of role, but needs core amounts of farm to do it, and he's a melee support. If you do pick up like that, with a melee support in Earthshaker, things get really awkward as far as how much pressure you can apply to the enemies in lane, so yeah, I'm expecting this Omni Knight to get a little bit more cash in this game, as that's usually the best way to play an Omni Knight, in my opinion.
Okay, so should we introduce the teams while we are still paused?
Well, who actually asked for the pause? So yeah, Energy Pacemaker asked for the pause, so I'm assuming MVP have the right players on the right heroes and whatnot. So for MVP, it's going to be Jarex playing the Earthshaker. large Earthshaker shoes to fill in this entire tournament. Heen is going to be handling the Lina with 4 EV on the Mirana. Sunbi is going to be playing the Omni Knight, and MP is going to be on the Shadow Fiend.
On the side of Energy Pacemakers, the Chinese representatives, we have LE on our IO, Fan playing on our Ember Spirit. On our Nature's Prophet, we're going to have a player named Tu. Not too sure what the Chinese characters are. LT on the Witch Doctor, and lastly we've got Old Chicken, who's going to be handling our Viper.
I know the first character is small, so
small
Xiao
Tu.
Tu something. That's the about extent of my Chinese knowledge.
Oh, okay then.
That's all I got. Something that's small and in more than one. Some multiples of something small. That's all I got, guys. Sorry.
We could probably ask somebody, actually. We've got a couple of native Chinese speakers here. I'm not too sure.
I guess we can do that.
We're paused anyway.
Yeah, no one's going to give us this information. We just have to find out on our own. But yeah, his name on most, all the big websites, all the database websites is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm definitely not going to call him that because that is impossible to say.
I think it's a little bit unnecessary to say in all honesty.
Do we really have to count all the way to 6? Probably just
Call
going up
them
to 2 is good enough.
numbers.
Get the idea. Yeah, 1 through 6, man.
Little numbers.
All right, guys, so hopefully we can actually get this game going. Not sure what the holdup was, but the important thing is that we're going to be getting this game going right away, and both sides should be loading out into their lanes. For Energy Pacemaker with the Nature's Prophet as the last pick, I think it really just solidified who's going to be going where. Before that, there was a little bit of questions involved, but yeah, for MVP, their lanes are going to be an Omni Knight on the off lane.
Interesting. So putting Omni Knight there, I think he should do okay. He can just constantly repel himself. The only problem is, though, he's going to run out of mana for repel eventually. So I'm hoping that Energy Pacemakers, they pretty much just try and harass him out of that lane as much as possible, because Omni Knight without levels, he can't do much.
And for an Omni Knight, he doesn't really have any backup plan. Like if you look at other potential offlaners, Batrider, Axe, Nature's Prophet now for EP, they could all go into the jungle if the lane gets really, really bad. And this lane, Io, Ember Spirit, Witch Doctor, it's not the worst lane. Like you can have worse lanes to go up against, but it's still going to be more than enough to just constantly poke and prod this Omni Knight. Yeah, he has boots first, so he's not going to take that much damage. He has 5 armor as well, but there's no really great way for Sunbi to stick in the lane and get guaranteed experience. And an Omni Knight that's a very low level, kind of an underwhelming hero.
Yeah. So for the moment, both teams just going to secure the bounty runes for their main heroes. We're going to have MP on the Shadow Fiend taking the bottom rune, whereas up top, Old Chicken on the Viper, I believe. Yes, he will. So both mid laners, I think, unless they're moving Omni Knight mid, Sunbi's going to head mid with the Omni Knight.
Yeah, MVP definitely juggling their heroes around a little bit more. No, I think MP is probably just going to
on
over there. Yeah, he has the 2 shared tangos, and I don't think I've actually ever seen shared tangos on a non-mid lane hero, at least to load things out. So yeah, Sunbi just going to take control of the block, make sure he has that EP, drop the ball a little bit with that. So slight favorable block in favor of MVP, and usually the blocks, I mean, they matter, of course, but they don't really determine the lane. With the Shadow Fiend, that's kind of the exception. He really makes good on the fact that, well, getting a little bit of an easier time in the super, super early stages, like minutes 0 through 2, gets him those extra souls, especially when you get Necromastery first instead of Raze.
It's also a Viper matchup too, so it's very hard for him to really win the matchup unless he can really get those souls accumulated from the CS, but it's going to be hard with Old Chicken there, just constantly denying him any sort of CS.
And up on top lane, I mean, we already said that the Omni Knight's going to have a tough time. Just a level 1 in the chains from the Ember Spirit, a little bit of poking harassment from LT, and that's really all they need. This is going to free up the Io, because they don't exactly need a 3rd hero up on the top lane to just handle the pulling in the jungle. Looks like he actually whiffed the first one, which kind of sucks, but hey, you can't get them all up apparently. So Io is going to eventually start stacking up, and for EP, they don't really have the best heroes at clearing it out, but should the Ember Spirit grab that Battle Fury, or even if he's going to grab maxed out Flame Guard when he does grab that, they're going to be able to clear those ancient stacks out.
Look at how annoying Tu is being in this bottom lane, just constantly using the treants to harass Heen as well as 4Ev. Both of these heroes very squishy. Mirana has an escape, but Heen on the Lina, he's a much easier target for Tu if he wants to try and go for a kill. It's going to be difficult though.
Yeah, Tu's going to play that elusive role. The boots definitely helping a lot in that regard as well. Problem being for this Treant Protect, or for the Nature's Prophet rather, if he's actually going to stick around in lane, it's just a matter of time before Heen lines up a free-handed LSA and actually connects with that. After that, the arrow setup with LSA, it's not really the best. You would rather have something a little bit better than that, but as far as the Nature's Prophet ability to escape, once the stuns actually start flowing, it's going to be really tough for him. Sprout as a defensive tool and TP as a defensive tool can do next to nothing.
Yeah, so just passive play coming out from both sides. No ganks actually going to be happening. We're just seeing heroes farm away, but Energy Pacemakers doing the most that they can with this farm, and there's Omni-Knight in that top lane. Sunby, he's getting levels, he's not getting any sort of CS though. Oh, he's got 2 CS, but it's still very minimal.
Mid lane MP is going to get into a fist fight with the Viper. However, Jerax is here. Fissure is going to be thrown, but won't really do that much. Shadow Fiend going to get roughed up a little bit, and without the bottle, things are going to be a little bit difficult for him, but he still has a decent amount of regen to recover from this. There's an Invis on the IO hanging around the mid lane, but level 2 ganking IO, I don't really think anyone is scared of that.
Yeah, IO can't really do much, can he? He's just a little ball of light, and he's only got the tether. He doesn't even have any points into spirits.
And for EP, okay, I thought I was disconnected because Old Chicken was just sitting there, but yeah, EP, their IO, making that play, I mean, it is kind of nice to apply some pressure, especially to a Shadow Fiend, who if he gets off to a great early start, can just snowball into the mid game. He's keeping this Viper protected, which is all well and good, but does the Viper actually need protection up against Shadow Fiend? I don't really think he does. The IO would probably be better off just almost purely jungling.
I feel that this is just a respect play coming out from Energy Pacemakers, and you got to think about it, they still need levels on the Wisp, and he's constantly keeping Old Chicken regened up, so even if MVP tries to go in for a gank attempt, it's going to be much harder with the Wisp nearby, with the potential tether into bottle.
This is also forcing Jerax to hang around a little bit more in the mid lane. This is just a signal from EP saying, we're looking at your Shadow Fiend, we're not going to let him free farm. So for Jerax, well, he's going to stack up occasionally. Wow, that is a pretty sizable stack already. 4 stacks of creeps, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it might soon be 5, but up towards top soon be. Repel is up, so he's not going to take a lot of magic damage, but it is wearing down soon enough. Here comes Nature's Prophet. Does he have Sprout? He does not. Sunbi has a Purify and taking quite a bit of damage, but Sunbi taking a lot more. That's going to be first blood drawn by the Witch Doctor, and it's just a matter of time before one of these offlane heroes is going to get picked off.
Yeah, and that's the advantage of having the Nature's Prophet. He can just TP in right into the middle of the fight and just contribute. He didn't do much though, he just kind of TP'd in, took assist gold.
Hey man, gotta get some assist golds, cash in a little bit, and well, I don't know if he's gonna jump right back to the bottom lane. He has since left the bottom lane, and he might just go straight into the jungle, try to get something there, but he has the Gloves of Haste already up. Probably a Hand of Midas build from this Nature's Prophet, and it doesn't seem like MVP will be able to do much about it. Ult towards mid, the Old Chicken getting into a fight again with MP. Double Ray is going to land, but with the bottle on the IO, this Viper's taking no damage at all. Even now going towards Earthshaker, Fish will slow him down. There are still Shadow Fiend illusions here. Do they have Old Chicken trapped? A little bit of body blocking. They need another hero here, and Old Chicken, though very low, is going to be able to escape.
Jerax is so lucky there were trees nearby, and the fact that it turned nighttime just as he was being ganked as well, so the limited vision pretty much preventing Energy Pacemaker from getting that kill at all onto Jerax. Is pretty much happy that that happened. He's level 2 as well. He almost, if he just had one more right click from Energy Pacemakers, that would have been your Earthshaker dead. And a double kill on a Viper in the mid lane, you definitely don't want that.
And it could have been worse for MVP, but at the same time, it was already pretty bad. Like Shadow Fiend going down really is never something good for a Shadow Fiend game, so he can recover, can flash farm this gigantic stack of hard creeps, so a couple of raises and you get a lot more cash there, but still the Shadow Fiend is dropping and getting the Viper a little bit more acceleration. And the IO with the Viper, not exactly the combo that we see all the time, but man, he has 3 points in Poison Attack, 2 points in Nether Toxin. Because he does have this IO as backup, he doesn't necessarily have to go for the Corrosive Skin. He has Bottle and Tether. That is going to serve as his survivability tool.
Yeah, so down bottom on the Nature's Prophet, he just TP'd in as well because the creep wave did push in towards the tower. He's got a Glove of Haste. This looks like it's going to be a very old school Hand of Midas Nature's Prophet.
And just get a little bit more cash for the late game. Again, EP, their late game is not directly powerful, I would say. Like you could have a Spectre or a Medusa and a Phantom Lancer, and then your late game is going to be directly powerful. But the amount of utility and split push and mobility that they have is going to make things really difficult for MVP to actually deal with. So, late game perhaps in a different definition, but it's still substantial late game nonetheless. And Ian gonna throw an LSA, which is going to connect onto Nature's Prophet. Arrow lineup, point blank, no mana for the stars though. And this means Nature's Prophet might survive for a little while longer, will be forced to TP out, but he will go down anyway. Had enough vision on him, and well, that's going to be a very easy kill on the Nature's Prophet. Also burned a TP scroll in the process there, so a really nice pick off there for MVP getting on the board.
And Sunby just kind of walking around under the cover of the Moonlight Shadow just to soak up some creepy XP. He can't really do anything. He's level 5 though on this Omni Knight, so he's not doing as badly as we thought he would. You would think that he would be harassed out of lane to no end and be an absolute non-factor, but no. He's going to be level 6 very soon. I'm interested to see what MVP wants to do with this Omni Knight. Are they just going to go all-out aggression, which is what their draft is indicating, or are they going to use him as a defensive mechanism to try and bring this into the late game? Because MVP, they do still have late game presence as well.
Yeah, with the Shadow Fiend, with the Mirana, who's getting almost completely free farm, if not complete free farm. Their late game is pretty substantial here for MVP, but what they can do, if they choose to do so, grab a mech on the Shadow Fiend or grab a mech on a hero for MVP, and then just try to use this extra sustain that they have coming out from the Omni Knight and that eventual mechanism in order to take these tier 1 towers and get in under EP before they actually get really big. But up towards top, we have an Ember Spirit jumping in. LSA is going to whiff, however, Dragon Slave will not. Okay.
Ooh.
Well, yeah, Earthshaker disconnecting, not exactly a great time for that. Fan does have mana galore, so quick Ember Spirit jump out. Maybe he survives, maybe the Fissure walls him off.
It's gonna be completely dependent on the Fissure or how quickly Fan can actually get that Remnant out of there. Well, anything could happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, for Ember Spirit players in general, like if you're gonna pick an Ember Spirit at this caliber of play, you have really fast hands, right? I think that's a given. So this is probably not going to help him as much if it was, maybe a different hero. But Fan, he has 3 points in the shield, and that is a hell of a lot of magic damage that he can absorb. Granted, a lot of the damage he's going to be receiving is physical, even pure. So if this Fissure lands onto Fan, then I think just a Purify will kill him off. It'll be a little bit short, but with this Lina right click in the air and another right click from the Omni Knight, a Fissure might be enough to burst them down, but again, not quite sure.
We'll quickly talk about mid lane as well. MP is absolutely surrounded. Oh, got another disconnect as well. This time it's going to be Sunby on that Omni Knight. A little bit unfortunate there for both sides. But anyways, in the mid lane though, if Mental Protector can actually get out of there, I expect this tower to go down relatively quickly.
Yeah, pretty much no matter what happens up on top, mid lane is going to be under the gun right now, and MP, he is in the best position possible. If he was a little bit more to the left, then he could be facing down a cask very soon, but he's positioned to the south, and that's, well, I don't know if he knows about it, but that's the best position for him to be in right now. But up towards top, let's see if it's going to be enough to kill off Fan. Fissure is going to be worked down. Chains are there. Fissure's going to land, but Sunbi's on the wrong side. That lets Fan get away, and over towards mid lane. MP is going to get initiated upon, dove by the old chicken and Lee. Here comes Sunbi up from top lane, but yeah, the TP into repel retreat, not exactly convincing. So it is going to be a kill for EP.
Look at number 2. He's biding his time. He's hoping one of the heroes inside of MVP actually comes forward so he can go for a sprout, but unfortunately no one is close enough. Sunby almost got sprouted, I think, but oh well, this tower will go down. So Energy Pacemaker is going to secure the first tower of the game. Down bottom, looks like we're going to get another tower, but this one's going to be going in the way of MVP.
Even tower for tower, of course, investing more heroes is the EP side, unless this tower gets denied. And it looks like with Old Chicken TPing down, if you're a Mirana, you never really wanted to get into a fist fight with the Viper, especially this early on when the vast majority of your damage output as Mirana comes from the stars and from that arrow. The Viper, even though he's not exactly loading up on the corrosive skin, is going to be more than enough to beat you in a fight. So it is a tower denied by EP, so they gain a Shadow Fiend kill, they gain a tier 1 mid tower, and they denied the bottom lane tower for them. And now with the mech completed on Viper, they can continue this pushing train.
So all of a sudden, looks like we're going to have EP going to be putting on the aggression to MVP HOT6. Let's see how they respond. They're still trying to farm away. MP, he's doing whatever he can, but look at the farm on that Shadow Fiend. He's looking a little bit bare. Actually, there's something coming on the courier. He's just got treads. Okay, so he's not that bad of a position, actually. There's going to be the Invis coming out from Mirana. They want fair, but he saw them with the Sentry Ward. So, actually, is that theirs? No, he didn't. Okay.
Star Sense. Sometimes you just feel that something is going down and you just get out of there, but over towards mid lane. Oh, Nature's Prophet doesn't have that sense apparently. He's going to hit with the raise, jump forward for it, he's going to throw some stars. That'll kill off the Nature's Prophet. It's not exactly the kill they wanted, but at least they get something.
Yeah, they needed something, and getting a kill on the Nature's Prophet, I don't want to say it's a minimal pickup, but at least they get one.
MP is on the retreat for Ev. Does have an arrow right now. Double raise going to land. Arrow will actually land on Old Chicken. I'm sure that was intentional, but Fan got all the raises absorbed by his shield, and now for Ev and MP in an awkward position, but they will be able to rejoin with the rest of the team. After all said and done, 2 TVs spent by EP. They don't get any kills, and in fact, they might lose a tier 1 tower.
So this tower, it's looking pretty though. I'm actually expecting Energy Pacemakers to reinforce this tower. They've been They've been pretty good with just TPing the towers, denying him from MVP, but never mind. They're going to take their own down bottom. They've got the Nature's Prophet, they've got the Witch Doctor, as well as the Wisp down here, so this should go down. It will be glyphed up, though, just so it can reset once that does drop. So it looks like MVP, they know it's going to drop, so they're just going to use the glyph to have it reset, but we have some really, really sneaky heroes coming into this fight in a moment.
Now would be a great time for that Star Sense of EP to kick in, but there's a fissure. Arrow going to connect again on the Nature's Prophet. 2 TVs coming. It's going to be MP first. Double raise, not quite going to do it. Mechanism healing up the Nature's Prophet double because of the tether. Now Heat and Jarek stuck in the back line. Now we're Dragon Slave through everyone, and the Guardian Angel forces the EP side to retreat. Can they actually connect with anyone? Requiem's going to be wound up just for a minor amount of slow, but that's about it. They're going to lack the necessary CC to really follow up, and still the Viper has full HP. They're even going to destroy the tower, and MP caught by poison attack. This is level 4 as well. MP's not going to go anywhere, but with an arrow, he might survive. It's going to be really close. Propel is going to secure his escape. Turn around, one raise. Just as a warning shot. EP still getting a pretty decent fight for Ev. Looking for a little bit more, but I think he's spotted. Yes, he's definitely spotted right now. This Mirana should be able to leap somewhere and TP out, but man, a really messed up fight, but EP still come out slightly in the lead, and even more so if they get Forev right now. Point blank arrow, but here comes the Ember Spirit. Forev not going anywhere anytime soon. Arrow's not going to kill off LT, although Forev's going to leap for it. Really wants to kill, but it's going to fall short. LT living at 70 HP, and Ember Spirit coming in like a superhero.
When you have a Mirana going for a support kill like that and he's expecting either a trade or to die for the kill, you know that they're under pressure. Your safe lane farming Mirana had to commit suicide in an attempt to kill a support. That's not good news for MVP.
And as far as late game heroes, Mirana definitely nowhere close to the top supreme level of late game. So this is really where Mirana should be, at her peak or close to her peak. If she's really struggling to get those kills, which is supposed to be what she's supposed to do right now, then, well, it doesn't really spell good things for your Mirana down the line. MVP, their bottom lane tower is going to actually be under a little bit of pressure just by Old Chicken. Look at the confidence from this Viper. He knows that if he gets in trouble, he'll have an IO and an Ember Spirit able to reinforce, and a Nature's Prophet, who actually, by the way, is going to teleport up to the top lane. Chains going to grab MP. He's going to throw a raise, but with a jump forward, they're going to kill off the Shadow Fiend without much trouble. They do see the IO where he left from, but they can't really do much about this.
The global strat's really working in favor of Energy Pacemakers. I just want to make a quick mention down in the bottom fight. This Wisp is very problematic for MVP. The healing, MVP can't outdamage the healing coming out from that Wisp.
This is a level 7 hero. Earn is up. He just ate an entire Lina combination, and well, now he's back at full HP due to his healing. Granted, this Lina doesn't exactly have her combo maxed out at this stage, but still, IO most of the time is going to be free pickings for, that type of burst damage. But yeah, the fact that IO survives means that Energy Pacemaker, should they want to, they could apply a little bit of pressure either towards mid or up towards top, or hell, even both.
The map is looking pretty dark for MVP. They don't have too many observer wards in defensive positions. They've got a lot of aggressive wards. They've got one on the dire side of the map. They have one towards the secret shop, and actually is something about to happen. We've got some heroes congregating around the top lane. Looks like it's just going to be a push from Energy Pacemakers. MVP, though, nowhere in sight because they do not want to fight into Energy Pacemakers' squad.
Yeah, they really need just a little bit more in the way of items. Something, actually a real item on Shadow Fiend, because Headdress is just a terrible item without being built into anything. You need that to be upgraded to something so that your Shadow Fiend can actually provide something else other than his just sheer damage from the raises, which is pretty good, but at this point MVP need a hell of a lot more. They're going to lose the tower. They're going to leave the bottom lane. All their heroes are going to survive. Mid lane, this tower is going to die one way or another. Can the Switch Doctor get the sick tower deny? It is very hard to outlast it a Shadow Fiend. And, no, he tried.
He tried. If you don't try, you never know.
Might as well try. You don't really lose anything, not putting yourself at any risk. Old Chicken's going to attack with an arrow. That's a very long stun. Here comes Heen. He has a double damage rune. That's going to be more relevant than it ordinarily is. However, the IO has to relocate. Old Chicken's going to put a lot of burst into 4F. Now here comes the Ember Spirit. Heen jumping very low. Has a repel. Will it actually save him? He's going to slip out barely as Jerax provides a little bit of cover with that Fissure Requiem around the corner. Going to connect up to a whole bunch of heroes, but it doesn't really seem like he's doing anything. The raise though in the Echo Slam. Going to kill off the IO. Two very low as his fan. They will kill off the Ember Spirit, and now going towards the but the Death Ward being channeled, and there's no one to interrupt this. MP trying to go for the Nature's Prophet, still repelled, now invisible from the Mirana, but Nature's Prophet, I don't know if he's going to get out of here. He's going to taunt MP in, but he knows actually raise, turn around, blind, not quite going to do it, and now the Viper has caught him with the poison. They'll take down the Nature's Prophet in the end. I got to assume that was a free-handed arrow, but MP, his Moonlight Shadow is running thin, but sometimes you just got to run into a straight direction. MP's going to TP out.
The Dukes, that was such a messy fight, but MVP, I can understand the mindset of them wanting to throw the Laguna Blade onto the Wisp, but all of a sudden the Lina just did not have enough mana to go for it. And because the Wisp survived, you mentioned this earlier, it's just constantly keeping these heroes on the side of Energy Pacemakers alive. MVP, they have to focus down the Wisp, but we saw what happened. If it wasn't for Jirax there with the Echo Slam, that fight would have gone all the way in favor of Energy.
Yeah, MVP at least get a little bit of something. They do end up killing off that Nature's Prophet. Still the raises, I feel, from MP, I don't exactly know. I didn't look at the damage output over the last couple of fights, but it feels like the only source of damage that MVP actually have is these raises. And, you know, a little bit of damage mixed in with the Lina, but other than that, their damage output is kind of lacking, it seems.
It is. The Mirana, all their damage is spell-based. It's all spell-based. They don't have any sort of right-click aside from whatever the Shadow Fiend has, but the Shadow Fiend just doesn't have enough time to go for any sort of right-clicks in these fights because he's so squishy. He can't really sustain himself. He does have a mechanism, but the problem with the mechanism on a Shadow Fiend is that he's not going to have too much mana to work with for raises.
And if he doesn't have that, then most of the damage output of MVP goes down the tubes. For EP, because most of the damage from MVP is burst damage, they just have to bulk up, because if they do survive that initial brunt, then the Witch Doctor and the IO are going to jump into action, get them healed up, and the sustained damage output of MVP is really going to fall off from there on out. So if they survive that initial damage output, then they're going to be fine. That's why we see Viper grab the Sange first as his health item.
Down bottom there we have Fan. He wants to chase after 4M. There's the leap and the TP. They're going to go for relocate as well with the Wisp, but easy pick up there under 4M.
Very close to being able to TP out, but the Wrath of Nature is going to find you every single time. So Mirana getting picked off, even use a drum charge for that. I mean, it's not really the most important thing in the world, but the fact that Mirana has itemized in a very early game fashion with phase boots, Ring Requilla, and a drum, yet is still getting picked off, and ultimately in these fights not really being super effective is problematic. They're going to go for ult chicken up towards top lane. They have a Fissure. Jerax is in a good position for Echo Slam. Will land it. One Ray's going to miss. However, MP is going to wind up the Requiem, and with the Purify Pure damage, ult chicken taking a lot of damage, and they will eventually bring him down. But that took a very long time.
Yeah, that was a very, very long kill, but at least MVP managed to grab a big kill. And that was also the Viper. He's pretty high in net worth, so let's take a look how much they managed to get. 1K from that Viper kill alone. So nice injection of gold there going in the way of MVP.
But that was going for the toughest target's kill without any of his supports. If there was an IO there, oh man, definitely wouldn't have been that easy. Maybe even the Viper survives. Maybe still he would have turned around, maybe gotten some blood in his hands. But yeah, going for Viper at the perfect time for MVP. Now they're going to apply a little pressure up towards top. This is something that EP can defend against if they actually had heroes here. But it seems like they're not really going to assemble the troops in a huge way. They're instead just going to go for 4Ev, who's trying to tango with the Ember Spirit, but he's not doing a fantastic job at that.
Yeah, so let's take a look at our graphs really quickly. We've got an EXP lead in favor of EP at the moment, about 2K in that department, whereas net worth, we've got EP leading in 5K. It's actually quite minor. You think it would be a little bit more than this, but actually middle, did they relocate? Actually, they're going to go right after Heen, and they even brought the Ember Spirit as well. Easy pick up there for Energy Pacemakers.
Yeah, Lina caught in the river all by herself. No worry really to run. Fissure is going to maybe wall Nature's Prophet. No, he'll worm his way through there. 4Ev has an arrow, but will miss. It's the 6 Juice Nature's Prophet again going to keep him alive. He's going to cancel his TP though. Oh my god, that might have been a mistake because now Jerax has another stun. He'll stun out the TP once. They still see him. Why did you cancel the TP, Nature's Prophet? I don't know. But sometimes you just got to give your life over because you got to make the game a little bit more difficult.
That felt like a misplay.
Yeah.
Maybe he just tapped the stop button. Sometimes it happens.
Classic I'm panicking moment from Nature's Prophet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, probably would have been a survival if maybe we were playing this game in a different day or something like that, but just that one time he is going to die. It is a nice pickup for MVP, obviously, but it's not exactly the hero that they want. They want the Ember Spirit. They want to kill off this Viper. Nature's Prophet is good, but with the Hand of Midas, killing him off to slow down his farm, not really going to do that much.
Yeah, at this point, the Nature's Prophet, all he really does is he just TPs in, throws a Sprout, maybe summons some Treants and Wrath of Nature. What else does he really provide you once he ports in?
Well, nothing until he grabs his Orchid, and that is coming pretty quickly, but other than that, this Nature's Prophet is kind of just bare bones, not really going to have much amplification. The push in the bottom lane, not going to do too much. In fact, this Mirana, left alone, Ember Spirit not going to make a jump. Old Chicken, he's pushing down the bottom lane as Viper, and relocate, going to catch 4Ev, jump forward. If Requiem is going to be wound up, going to connect onto 3, raise 1, raise 2, and the Purify damage Fan is going to Danelie, also dropping very low very quickly, but he will slip away. Now the Death Ward is going to force everyone back. Still Old Chicken at full HP, but MP is going to calmly TP out of there. Here comes H Profit for something. They will take a 2-for-1 trade on the bottom lane.
What a trap set up by MVP. What a trap. Able to snap up not just the Wisp, but also the Ember Spirit, two very core heroes in this EP draft, and all of a sudden you get a massive gold swing in favor of MVP. 1K, they did lose. Oh, the arrow. The arrow, they managed to take down 2 on the Nature's Prophet. 4F.
Oh man, 4F was in such a bad position also, like Nature's Prophet to the right, 2 heroes, Old Chicken and LT to the left. That could have been really bad for the Mirana, but it just seems like EP figured with their positioning they were completely safe, and clearly they were wrong. They're going to try to take an objective in the meantime. MVP, pretty sure they don't know about this. In fact, they're not mobilizing the troops in a timely fashion, but hey, if the Mirana now can actually step up and get some kills, she actually has the Maelstrom to help complete that. I don't know if she's going to go straight Mjolnir, but still, she actually has some damage output coming outside of her skills.
So it looks like this is going to be uncontested as well, unless somehow MVP manages to scramble up their troops and get down there, but looks like it's just going to be an easy grab for EP.
Sunbi and Jerax, they have both Blink Daggers, so they can, in theory, crash that party. Blink Echo Slam, definitely difficult to deal with, and if you purify the Earthshaker afterwards, that's a hell of a lot of damage, both pure and magical, but it's a little bit too late. Aegis now claimed by the Ember Spirit.
That's going to be a really nice pickup for EP. It means that they can be aggressive. Oh.
They see everyone right now, MVP. They're moonlit up, and they're going to walk right in. The Swagger Fiend looking for a Requiem, but he doesn't actually have it. 5 seconds off, and they will actually waste their opportunity. LT dropping pretty low, but with their tether, he'll be just fine. MP's going to get Viper struck, but he's still repelled. He'll be just fine. Now winding up with the Requiem. Going to connect only to Old Chicken. Do they have enough burst to actually kill off this Viper? The Guna Blade has already been used. They need an Echo Slam. There it is, onto 3 heroes. Jerax is going to take down the Witch Doctor immediately, but there's no follow-up damage. Oh, there is actually. They'll kill off the Aegis Prophet. Now Fan, he's going to lose his Aegis. It looks like pretty darn soon, as they also lose the IO. And Old Chicken on the run as well. They don't have enough mana on this Earthshaker, but they have enough right-click damage. 4F going to claim a triple kill. Jerax, Shaker, you were talking about in the draft, and I think now we see why.
I have nothing to say about that team fight. That was absolutely beautiful execution coming out from MVP. You think Energy Pacemakers would have been the aggressive heroes because they had that Aegis, but no. MVP bringing the fight to EP, and all of a sudden going to be knocking on their front door. And Energy, they've got a couple of heroes coming up. They're going to stall with the Ember Spirit, but what can they really do?
Well, Jerax doesn't have a ton of mana right now, so EP, the time to do something is soon. The damage, as far as pushing power is concerned for MVP, is not really super high, so bringing a tower down low, I mean, it's a tier 3, so it is obviously worth quite a bit of cash for the MVP side, but they're not going to get away with that objective. Still taking, what was that, a 1-for-4 fight, something like that, is absolutely fantastic for them, especially considering that initiation with the Mirana's ultimate was as messy as it gets. Like, that was not a Moonlight Shadow initiation. That was an Earthshaker initiation.
Absolutely. Now, there is some good news for Energy, though. They did take a little bit of damage on their mid T3 tower, but they managed to keep that Aegis on Fan. He did not get dropped in that team fight, so Aegis is still available for Energy to make the most of if they want to, or they can just use this as a passive item just to keep the Ember Spirit in place in case he does get ganked up. He is pretty slippery. There are disables on MVP, but Fan, he's not going to be an easy target to take down, especially if the Wisp is especially if the Wisp is nearby.
And the Wisp is sticking near the Ember Spirit, at least as close as the Wisp can. Shadow Fiend walking forward, feeling pretty good about himself because he has double magic immunity available if need be. Sees one potential enemy. He's going to get hit with the chains, sleight of fist as well, but he's not taking that much damage. Here comes the Viper. Going to try to help out, but Moonlight Shadow is there. Sunbi is going to be the one to take the pressure now as they do dust up. Shadow Fiend going to TP out with the Repel. Will be A-OK. Jerax also saving Sunbi there. Again, this Earthshaker providing some serious value to his team. And EP, I mean, they had a 5 versus 2, 5 versus 3, and they couldn't get a single kill out of it.
So you look at this game, we look at that graphs really quickly. Yep. It's equalized in net worth. Technically it's in favor of MVP, but EXP all the way up. It's closing in on 7.5k lead for MVP. So all of a sudden, what seemed to be a very rough early game, it's not fully equalized. It's kind of wonky in some departments, but it's a much even game compared to the beginning stages, and we are going to see a battle 3 on the Ember Spirit, so we'll see how that interacts with the Sleight of Fist.
Yeah, hopefully it's not going to be game-breaking because that would be just ridiculous. But yeah, especially like EP now losing their advantage after having claimed an Aegis. That's never really supposed to happen. When you have an Aegis, first of all, you get a large jumping golden experience from killing off Roshan, but you're supposed to be getting more ahead with that item. Losing advantage after you grab the Aegis is such a rarity, and that's just only because mostly MVP took such great fights and they haven't really been punished since that Aegis has actually been picked up.
So just some downtime for both teams. They're just farming away. Are we seeing any core items being picked up? We don't really have too much coming online. Actually, Orchid is going to be on our Nature's Prophet. He actually has it right now. So at least 2 finally having his first main item, but this is pretty late considering he had a Midas.
Well, Silence is going to be good at any stage of the game, but really for a Nature's Prophet, you would love to be able to TP in when the game is 15 minutes, 16 minutes old, and then just be able to silence and get that kill by yourself. At this stage, if he tries to pull that stunt, well, it's just not going to go well for him, let's just say that. So yeah, it's a late item for sure on the stage of Prophet, but hey, slow and steady might win the race, who knows. For EP, other than that, they don't really have that much. Battle Fury is up on the Ember Spirit, and IO's tanking up, you know, in a pretty big way, but that's about it for them.
Do you think this is going to be a BKB on the Wisp? We did see this a couple of times earlier in some other games.
Oh, they're actually going to catch Old Chicken, and the Witch Doctor actually burst damage from the Laguna Blade, not quite going to do it. Soon be repels. He repels the Viper, and now Old Chicken might actually live because of it. I still don't know why you can repel enemies, but Old Chicken might go down. No, he's going to survive. Now here comes the Ember Spirit, as well as the IO. Soon be sitting in the Death Ward. He's going to get dropped, and now MP also taking a lot of damage. They do interrupt that Death Ward eventually, but it's at a steep cost. He now caught in the Sprout. He's maledicted. He's going to go down, jump out from fans. Still, actually, no, does not have his Aegis. Jerax needs a little bit more. One more right click. That's going to do it. Old Chicken returns. Requiem, though, being armed up, and will go right into the Viper. Fissure is there from Jerax, and then we'll wall him off from the escape. Here comes 2, but there's 3 heroes here. You can't do that, man. Triple kill for 4Ev, and EP, even after a pretty substantial misplay from Sunbi, still get away with the 2 for 4.
That almost looked bad with the repel on the Viper. They almost lost the kill on the Viper, but my god. MVP managing to come up with some great plays, and they take a massive objective. They're going to get the first set of Raxes. EP though, what do they do?
And it is very possible for them to absorb the fact that they just lost Raxes, have such high mobility, so much clearing with the Nature's Prophet as well as the Battle Fury Ember Spirit, but they really shouldn't feel in a good spot right now. Like that fight when you have a Viper get a free pass, a free get out of jail free card, and then he still dies in the end, and the rest of the team also gets ground up, that's gotta feel really demoralizing. And for MVP, they should be feeling on the top of the world. Like, they made a huge misplay and they don't really get punished. So if they could get away with a victory after a fight like that, then man, they should feel like they could get away with anything.
The global strat from EP, it's really fallen off as well. We haven't seen any global ganks from them for a while, have we? About 5-10 minutes now?
Yeah, occasional relocates, but really Nature's Prophet, his global potential hasn't really felt like it's been there. It's mostly just the Ember Spirit and the IO, which is, you know, still fairly threatening, but it just feels like the Nature's Prophet doesn't actually do anything in this game.
I think the only thing he really does is just throw the Orchid and the Sprout. That's pretty much all he's been able to do for contribution. So this hero that got, I don't want to say an early Midas, a decent timing for an offlane Nature's Prophet, but he's really, really fallen off in terms of usability at all. But I'm pretty sure you guys saw what we saw.
And it's hard to also compare him when you compare it to what Jerax is actually doing for his team as the support Earthshaker, or support in quotation marks, Earthshaker. He's just setting up so many huge plays, and Sunbi, it's, you know, when he's not repelling his enemies, he's getting his team some serious value. GA was also used in that previous fight, I believe. So yeah, these heroes can contribute. They're a lot more direct in their contributions. It just seems like Nature's Prophet, his skills at this point, they don't actually do that much directly. He needs some sort of item amplification, and with just an Orchid, that's not good enough.
His looks like he's just gone for utility at this point. He's only got the Orchid, but he's picked up Dust for his team. It's going to help when the Moonlight Shadow does get popped, but yeah, Nature's Prophet, just a non-factor. But can we be safe to say that Jerax has just pretty much self-promoted himself in terms of position? Because you look at his items and you just can't say it's a position 5 Earthshaker. Or position 4.
No longer a support. This is a core Earthshaker now. You've been promoted. Congratulations, Jerax. Unfortunately, it doesn't come with a pay increase, but you have to earn the gold, apparently, and he's been doing a pretty good job at that. The team will take down the tier 1 tower up towards top. Now Jerax has a Glimmery Cape and pretty much all the mobility you could possibly buy in this game outside of travel. So cleaning out the tower. Arrow is going to be thrown. Don't walk into this, guys. Old chicken, don't walk into that, man. That's not a good play to make, but for it, you might as well go for those arrows. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you don't. It's still a free T2 for MVP.
If he just throws those blind arrows and he does catch heroes, it's a free kill. He has a lot of backup with him, but looks like High Ground is going to be pretty much pushed. Arrow not going to really connect onto Old Chicken though, but EP, their heroes, they're kind of all over the place. Ember Spirit has to TP back from that bottom lane. How is EP going to make the defense?
Oh, their IO is not split pushing with their Ember Spirit. This is really where IO, as a hero, Spectre as a hero can also do it. Hell, even Ember Spirit as well. So I guess Nature's Prophet is the best at it. He's going to get going with the split push and force MVP to either go for the play right now or lose a tier 2 tower without getting anything in response. And EP, they could be doing this with a lot more heroes. Oh, Fissure going to connect. Arrow, actually, no, phase down the racks. But they're forced to have Old Chicken out right into the clutches of MP. Will it be enough? Actually, he's going to get help from the IO. Still has his tether, and they actually pop the BKB on MP. He's going to get glimmered out of there, but still, this is a big asset for MVP down the tubes. They are moonlit up. Fissure onto Old Chicken, not going to wall him out of his base. With the BKB down on Shadow Fiend and with Nature's Prophet pushing the base, I don't know if MVP can continue with this play.
It's a little bit risky. Nature's Prophet down the bottom lane. He's doing whatever he can just to push out these creep waves. So hopefully it will set MVP back. But EP, they're just trying to do whatever they can to keep, pretty much hold their base. Fissure just to block Old Chicken away from MVP. It looks like this will be the retreat from our Korean squad down bottom there. They're going to chase right after the Nature's Prophet. And actually they're going to bring the Wisp as well as the Ember Spirit. And it looks like he's going to have to run away for his life at the moment. He throws the Dragon Slave Lagoon as well. He might get the Wisp if he's lucky. He won't. Wisp manages to survive, but the Nature's Prophet goes down. Ember Spirit, though, he's by himself. He will Remnant away. But 1-for-1, a support Lina for Nature's Prophet. Would you say it's even?
Yeah, it's probably a little bit even. Jarex got promoted. Looks like Nature's Prophet got demoted. So got to keep the rank in a good system right now. Before Ev's going to ambush LT right now. He's going to do a lot of damage, but not quite enough. Looks like Witch Doctor, with the huge amount of strength and HP he has, is going to be able to tank through all of that. A little bit unfortunate that 4F couldn't actually line up an arrow there, but still, MVP, they hold on to their structures. They don't really gain anything, so overall, it's kind of a wash, but for EP, a wash is perfectly fine for them.
So again, we're just back to the passive plays, but looks like objective is going to be taken by MVP. They're thinking about it and they're hanging around, whereas EP, they're just defending their base at this point. The middle lane is constantly pushed. They do have the Ember Spirit there for clear, but he's kind of doing his own thing, farming the jungle, pushing the top lane, because he's the best hero when it comes to split pushing, just because he has the remnants to always fall back to. They've got the Nature's Prophet as well, but he's not hitting hard at this point. He's hitting like a pea shooter. He's actually just going to sit on the cliff to be a bit of a ward for his allies.
The ultimate demote. Like, you're not even a hero anymore. You're literally purchasable. It feels bad, man. But MVP, they know that the Roshan is up. EP should have a good idea about this as well. But can they actually do anything about it? As far as actually going for Roshan, EP, they cannot do that. They can contest it, but it's not going to start out very well. If they catch with the Witch Doctor, they will with the Fissure. He's going to get healed up a lot, but it's not going to be enough. Sunbi, he's going to try to catch someone with degen, potentially. They also see Old Chicken blink forward. Jarek's going to land a single stun. Has an Echo Slam if he wants to let that loose right now. He's going to be spotted right now. Force that forward, still holding on to that spell. Now that ulti is going to throw the Lagoon Blade over towards the Nature's Prophet. He'll get annihilated. Fissure onto 3. And they're going to chase forward for more. Guardian Angel is up and EP have to retreat. They will relocate out, but it's just the IO. Old Chicken is left behind. He's completely surrounded in heroes, and he's going to die as well. IO is going to come right back. Maybe he has a tether target to escape to, or it's going to be Old Chicken going right into an LSA. Echo Slam is there. He just brought back, and the IO is also going to die. Here comes the Ember Spirit, but suddenly he has no backup here. It's a 4-0 in favor of MVP. They're pretty banged up, but they just take a massively one-team fight, and they still have BKB on Mirana.
And all of a sudden, MVP, they're going to go after this top T3 tower. EP, there's no buybacks available at all, so they only have Fan there for the defense, but he's not hitting that hard. So MVP, they're not too scared about this. They might even try and go for a kill. Just going to go for some harassment. Arrow does connect, though. Are they going to try and pick him off at this point? They won't finish off the stun, but he's going to cop all the damage from the Death Ward, and Witch Doctor all by his lonesome, going to be picked off by the rest of MVP. Now the Raxes are exposed. Ember Spirit's still there to throw the Sleight of Fist, but EP, I think they're just going to have to give these up.
Arrow is the only tool that MVP actually have to kill off this Ember Spirit right now, because Jarex is out of mana, but now he has a Fissure. They're going to connect onto Fan, and the damage for MB is huge. However, a jump out from the Ember Spirit will keep them alive. Unfortunately for Melee Raxes, they can't jump out. They're stuck in one place. They will go down for Ev, looking for the range. Don't know if he can actually find that one. Fan looking for the chains will, well, that's not going to work either. But Melee Rax down, that's the important target for MVP. A huge amount of gold in their pockets now as it just took a substantial advantage in this game, even more so than they already had.
MVP just creeping slowly towards that first win in this best of 3 series, whereas EP, they looked strong during the early game, but then they just got constantly picked off by MVP to the point where they can't do anything. They just can't initiate their own ganks because MVP constantly together, they always reinforce their teammates because they know they fight well together. They don't have to fight as those in those small skirmishes. They're always as a group, and EP just cannot engage them like that.
It's MVP mostly, like 9 times out of 10, I want to say, getting the initiation off. And that's where Arrow and Fissure, both as stuns, but also long-range stuns, it's helping MVP actually start those fights off properly. Most of the time, it's, well, Nature's Prophet getting picked off, but it's someone from MVP getting a pick off on EP. And at that point, you're in a 4v5. That's already not a favorable fight for you. They're going to go straight for the Rosh. And, well, with 1.5 Raxes down, EP are nowhere near in a position to actually contest this.
This is the second Roshan as well, so no cheese this time, but if we do go to a third Roshan, there is going to be cheese available for MVP, but EP, they're just going to bunker down at this point. If they can win a team fight, maybe the amount of gold they get from it will slowly turn Fan into a threat, because you look at the damage output during those team fights. Does Fan really put a dent into these heroes?
It's not really good enough. Like, he has crit, but it's only like baby crit. MP has the Big Daddy Daedalus, and well, he's hitting very hard. He's very tanky as well with the mech, with the SNY. Obviously with Aegis, that's like the best tanking item you could have, I guess. Doubles your effective HP, but Old Chicken, he's going to be spotted out right now. MP is going to go into the base from the left side. A little bit weird way to initiate that fight, but he's doing so much damage right now that he could probably get away with doing that. This is where Nature's Prophet really wishes he had more value right now. He could be split pushing that much quicker. He's doing his best, but I don't really know if you could race the entirety of MVP right now.
Even if he TPs back and a team fight happens, he doesn't really give his team anything. So I think in this position, he's just better off split pushing for his allies. And actually, team fight, there's going to be the Arrow as well as LSA. They do get the kill onto Old Chicken. EP though, what do? They want to retreat. They cannot fight. Fan going to go right into the fountain. LT on the Witch Doctor going to go down. And Guardian Angel was popped by MVP. Wisp by himself. Fan TP back as well as the Nature's Prophet. Now, what can they do at this point, though? They can only stall this out for so long, LE. He has to pop the Ghost Scepter, leap forward by Forever. He wants to kill the Nature's Prophet, and Nature's Prophet going to go down. No escape mechanism, and Fan and Lee. There's the GG, well played. MVP taking the first game out of his best of 3 series in the winners bracket finals.
And I thought the draft was going to be performing a little bit better for EP, but it just doesn't seem like it worked out the way I thought. The mobility, though high initially on their heroes, they have the potential for that. Just never really came together. Fantastic play from MVP all around. I don't think there was really a no demotions for them. It was all in favor of EP.
No demotions for MVP. They got promotions, whereas EP, bit of a different story.
All right, so this is a best of 3. I believe we're going to go into a short break just to let EP and MVP recharge, bathroom, drinks, or whatnot. So, guys, we'll be right back for Game 2 between MVP and Energy Pacemaker here in MPGL 7. I'm Mikelorus. I've been joined by Danelie, and we'll both be right back.